Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Marine X back at it again. These are two bags that I find incredibly interesting. These are the Fara Sling Bag and the Fara Messenger Bag. This is a sponsored video. Fara is sponsoring today's video. However, they don't get to see this video before it's released. They're seeing it for the first time with the rest of you. And I was very interested in these bags for a couple of reasons. We're going to go over each one, help guide the decision on whether these could be the bags that fit you, and figure out why I found these incredibly interesting and decided to even allow this video to take place today. Now, creating a sling bag or a backpack, I think, is a very intentional, and for some, you would even say a deliberate process. Sky and Trisha are the founders of Fara. They have a lot of experience in the bag community, and that's why I'm excited to check out the Fara bags. They had originally found Wookiee Bags in 1996. They ran that business for several years, and they developed quite a following in the backpack and ski community. They developed this following because for backcountry skiing and like heavy duty skiing and that type of stuff, that gear was extremely expensive. They were able to manufacture and design bags that were functional for a much less expensive price than some of their competitors. Now, they eventually sold that business, and Sky and Trisha ended up moving to New Zealand, and they became in-house designers for a company I never heard of called MacPack or Maypack. Apparently it's a big bag company out in New Zealand. They also do business in Australia, and they continue to hone the craft. Sky himself is not a trained seamstress. I think started doing this, dabbling this way in his college dorm room, and he developed his craft over time, eventually moving back to the States and doing bag designs for some companies that you may have heard of, like the North Face, Thule, Burton, and Sitka. Now, they got tired of kind of the cut and paste nature, the plasticky feeling of bags in the EDC community, and they've decided to dip their toe into this environment. I didn't know until researching for this video that a lot of bags that we have, the sling bags, backpacks, somewhere in Asia, there is literally like a shop where you walk in. I want to start a bag company. I walk in and I just pick components and I can have a bag created. And then obviously it's shipped from Asia, but there's not a master seamstress that I can necessarily walk and follow in America and have affordable prices. That's why we get so many bags and slings that look incredibly the same, look very similar. I had no clue that this was an industry. I guess it makes sense because for knives, if I want to start a knife community, a knife company, I can go and pick designs for a knife and start one damn near tomorrow. So they came up with Fara, and Fara is an Old Norse word for travel, and that is where they target these bags for travel and for everyday carry. Now, I've been testing these bags out a lot. We're going to start off with the sling bag. Hey, Editor X here. So there's actually two different sizes of each bag. I have the large size of both. The sling will come in a 3-liter and a 4-liter. The messenger will come in a 12-liter and a 16-liter. So I think you'll be able to do different tiers directly on the Kickstarter page, but just check out the links down below. Make sure you check those out. These are going to be launching on Kickstarter, and the pricing on these, at least for launch, I think is going to be crazy. You're going to be able to get this bag 40% off. And I don't normally like talking about products that are being on Kickstarter, but the fact is that out of Bozeman, Montana, I already like me some Montana companies. Of course, I like Montana Knife Company. So when I found out they were in Montana, I found out their expertise. There's only two companies that I really like that have really good seamstress and designers in the States. And the other one, obviously, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Brown Buffalo. They're out there in California. And then this company pops up, Fara, and it is $74. Actually, it's a 3-liter sling. And the messenger bag, which we'll talk about here in a second, that's going to be $129, limited to 400 units for both. Now, I've carried these things in a number of different scenarios. I have taken these things to the State Fair of Texas. I've taken them to kids' birthday parties. I've ridden them on my one wheel, on my bike, walked around with them, used them for DIY work around the house. And there's so many things I like about them, and I'm help guide to see if you might like them as well. Looking at the bag themselves, it does kind of have like this, I don't know, I guess we want to call it like a almost a triangular type of design on it. But this entire outer flap here is an all-weather design, which they are purporting to be waterproof. Now, the only way I could really test this is by standing in the rain, and I am amphibious, and I did that. And this flap in the front is serves two purposes. It's a theft deterrent. Now, a thief's going to be a thief, but it keeps your zippers covered, and it's also what makes this bag waterproof. And I like that a lot. Turning over, looking at the back of the bag, it does have like this webbing on the back, which does a couple of things. It makes it comfortable to wear all day long. Experienced that at the State Fair of Texas. This thing just kind of sits in my back, and I barely felt it. But the biggest thing that it does is that it actually prevents the back from moving around on your back, which I didn't think about that at all. And the way that they designed this as well is that they help reduce the amount of wrinkles that you get on your clothes. Didn't think about the necessity for that, but I thought that was a great idea. The strap comes designed for someone that's right-handed, but it is ambidextrous. So if you want to, you can literally take these little clips off here and just swap it around, and you can wear it on your left or right shoulder, whichever one you see fit. The design of the actual strap does have this same air mesh here that kind of helps the moisture wicking and kind of help breathing. And then they have like this, I have a hero clip on it. Let me take that off. But they have the customized Fara buckle. And what that does is it makes for incredibly fast adjustments to the sling itself. A lot of companies don't get the buckle right, and that's an issue. If you want to tighten it, you just literally pull it down to tighten it. And when you want to loosen it, you pull this up. One thing you don't notice is there's no extra strap hanging all over the place, which is fantastic. Over your body, it kind of just fits here and just sits there very well. Thing I like about it, I have this thing loaded out pretty good, and it just curves into your neck. I wear it on my left shoulder, but as mentioned, if you want to wear it the other way around, you can. Wearing it over your left shoulder will allow for you to be able to basically access it with your right hand. You can swap that around pretty easily. So those small type of details I like. I'm a really big fan of the price, but that's one thing that kind of goes without being said. So some other things I didn't know I needed in a bag is the ability to leave the zippers open. Now, I'll talk about what I mean by that here in a second, but I thought I wasn't going to be a big fan of this flap because in my mind, I want to be able to get to the items in my sling like super fast. They need to be at the fly. And the places I thought I would slow down would be a high pressure place. The highest pressure place, and you guys can experience, is Costco. Costco and Sam's, those cashiers at Costco are so efficient. They are ready for you to pay within seconds. I normally pay with my phone, tap to pay, and my phone is not in my pocket. It might be in the sling. I'm like, am I going to slow down? Normally, I'm used to having a pocket in the back. That's no issue because you can also just leave the flap open if you want to and still wear it on your body. And if I leave the flap open, a lot of times I would just kind of wear it on my body like this if I knew I needed quick access to something. But that really wasn't an issue to worry about the flap itself. I think I would prefer to have that flap with the extra protection and the theft deterrence to not have it at all. Now, they're saying that these are made out of nylon, virgin nylon. I don't know what that means. I don't know what virgin nylon is. This is where you get bag talk that makes a lot of sense, but it does have the double zipper feature. Now, it does have two zippers on each, meaning that it is designed to be ambidextrous. If you keep the zippers in the middle, then so be it. But they didn't want to just put one because if you swap it around, obviously you want to be able to get into it. Here's one area where I do want to see a change, if possible. What they've done here is they do have different size zippers so that you can kind of tell absentmindedly which zipper that you're grabbing. But I wouldn't mind seeing it a little bit more of a distinction. So if I'm talking to someone, I'm looking after a kid, I'm talking to my wife, I can absentmindedly know like, okay, I'm opening the main compartment, I'm opening the phone compartment. That would be nice to have for a future iteration, but it does have a little bit of jipping on the main compartment, which kind of does help you a little bit differentiate between that and the phone pocket. So it's just enough, very subtle branding on the front. This front pocket, they have it designed to be a foam a phone pocket or a quick dump pocket, whatever you want to put in there. Normally that's where I would just keep my wallet, but it does have enough room for you to put whatever you want. So if you want to keep your phone in there, no issues whatsoever. Then behind that is the main compartment, which is kind of something that's unique. There's some items in this main compartment. There's some things in the main compartment I thought I was not going to like. It actually has not been that big of a deal, to the point where now I'm kind of like, maybe I shouldn't have just slip pockets in any of my slings or bags without magnets. Okay, I have magnets in this bag. iPad minis right in the middle. Kind of shows you this middle space is just a big dump area for whatever you want to put in there. If you want to put diapers, wipes, I've had to do that. An iPad mini for the kiddos, I've had to do that. Whatever you may want to put in there, you can throw in there as well. It does have these magnets, as I mentioned, there for that pocket, and magnets for this back pocket. So let's talk about the front area first. So you have this magnet, which conceals what would normally just be a slip pocket with no magnets. You have the little magnet inside. So now you can keep stuff inside of there like business cards, maybe some chapstick or whatever. Then right in front of that is a zippered pocket. That zipper pocket has micro fleece inside. It's designed for sunglasses, but that might be an area where, say for instance, you're not going to be touching your phone very much, or you have a very sensitive item. You can put it inside that zippered pocket and leave it in there and not have to worry about getting scratches on whatever the hell you put in there that if you find important. So I think that's pretty cool. But it's kind of designed for maybe your sunglasses or maybe your readers. You don't wear your readers all day, so you may want to have that there. Flipping around, looking at the other side, you do carry over that magnet here. Same kind of design for a slip pocket, but instead of just being a slip pocket, you have a magnet, which I like. So you can throw whatever you want to keep in there. It does have a key holder. And so it's a very long key holder. So while this is on your body, you can still actually put this into your front door or your vehicle or whatever and unlock that. You can let that just sit inside the bag. I tend to keep it in this little magnet pocket that's next to it. Makes life easy. For a future iteration, I would also like to see this swivel. But you know what? It's not that big of a deal for the swivel functionality. But it is nice to be able to, if you have a key that you're trying to get a certain direction, it would be nice if that's swiveled. But that's just something to think about. And you can clip a knife to it. I have a knife clipped on the outside there just to kind of show what you could do with that as well. Behind it, you also kind of see you do have a pen holder. Now, the thing about the pen holder is this pen holder is independent from the rest of the bag, and it has a zipper pocket behind it. I like this because if this pen were to bust, it's going to keep the ink from getting on other items because it's self-contained. They built this so that if it were to bust, it traps that ink inside of it, which is good because at the end of the day, going in airplanes, this is a travel bag, going in different conditions, hot and cold, your ink pens could bust, especially if you're carrying a fountain pen. It would be nice to be able to keep that ink inside. Here you have a zipper pocket. Once you get in there, you get the organization coming in, little organization monster. Let me bring you in a little bit closer so you can see what's going on back here. So you have 3 slip pockets in the very back, and I have an iPod Touch in one. It kind of gives you the dimensions of what you could fit inside of there. Right here in the middle, I have an SSD, which hooks directly to the back of my phone. So if I'm taking video or whatever, I have a larger capacity. I have a tracker card in here. So if I lose this entire bag, most people wouldn't know what the heck that was. It's a tracker card, so I can track and see where this thing is going. Or if I just simply leave this bag somewhere, I can track it. And then next to that, I have my Leatherman Free P4, and I have the tool set that goes along with it. Then you just kind of have more storage right in front of it, just a dump area where you can put I have my wired in-ear monitors and put those in there. Then on the very inside pocket here, there's a small area for you to put an air tag if you want to. I don't have an air tag for this specific bag, but you can stick an air tag in there and hide it, and it kind of just slips away, and it makes a lot of sense. So the Sling Bag is very, very cut, dry, to the point, but it does have high quality materials, which I'm a fan of. So the Sling Bag might be right for you. If you need something that's around 3 liters, you want it to have a certain level of comfort, and you know that you're going to be taking this for possible everyday carry, maybe keep a small camera in here, but also for travel as well. I think it blends in pretty good. This is a pretty good looking bag. Other than those small improvements, I can see this is viable, especially at the Kickstarter price. Even when it comes out for their targeted MSRP, I still think because of these materials that it just makes sense. The biggest feature for me, hands down, is the way that this sling is kept, the quick adjustments when it's on there, because when this is on my body, I want to be able to quickly make adjustments to the sling, just like this. I just tighten the sling. And then if I want to, I can loosen the sling. There's not extra cordage all over the place. So I'm a big fan of that. The messenger bag. This is something that I did not know I would need in my life specifically. I just recently did a review on an Evelyn stock. Big old bag. It was a great bag. It's a CCW bag. That's a more traditional office bag that not necessarily didn't work really well for a messenger, travel, any of that type of stuff. I've had messengers from Vertex. I've had messengers from 511. This is the one where I feel like it can be a messenger bag for work. It could also be used for a camera bag. It doesn't really advertise itself to be a camera bag, but it has a lot of functionality in here that I thought was crazy. First off, the entire messenger bag has this like exo foam about it that helps the bag keep its shape. But it has a 360-degree foam, so that every single item inside the bag is protected from falls off of a desk, falls off of a table, and just gives more padding. If you were to put this in an overhead bin of a airplane, someone throws their crap on top of yours, the foam will help take those hits and stuff like that. Now, instead of going with magnets, as I didn't mention on here, the sling actually closes with magnets. We talked about the magnets before. This is a bigger bag, may have more stuff inside. So this actually uses magnetic closures, which are very easy to engage and disengage, just kind of like really simple. And so I like the fact that you can disengage and engage the slings with no issues whatsoever. Here, I see these little pull tabs here, and as I have the bag pretty stuffed, if you have this empty, I'm not sure what these little loops are right here for. I guess it makes it easier for you to pull down on. It would be nice if there was some type of cord keep or something like that. So if you keep this relatively empty, you can just kind of like loop this up and maybe put that all there. But that's not really been an issue. It's just something to think about in a future iteration. Same kind of design here where you have this mesh, except it's bigger, it's fatter here, because for this bag, obviously it's going to have heavier stuff inside. This can fit up to a 16-inch MacBook Pro or 16-inch laptop. So this helps do the same thing. Keep it in the middle of your back or your lower back, wherever the heck you wear it. Help you breathing, because it's such a bigger actual chamber here. It's going to help with the breathing a little bit more on there. And it's going to help reduce the wrinkles, which I didn't think I needed as well. This grab handle also doubles as a luggage pass-through. So when this is sitting on your luggage, you can literally pass it through here, but you can also use this, especially when the bag is laying down on its front, to grab it and pick it up. And of course, you can hook a hero clip to it, which I like as well. Now, it has the same exact type of design for the adjustment for the buckle. The only thing they did different here is they basically took the technology you'll find in a backpack, and they took that same type of exoskeleton and they put it in the shoulders, the singular shoulder strap for the messenger bag. That gives you way more padding. So I like that, because this is going to have heavier stuff, and you want it to not necessarily dig in your neck. It's going to touch your neck. You want it to be comfortable. And I like the fact that they thought about, hey, let's just give the same type of design you would have on the backpack here, and makes life a lot easier. When you jump into the bag itself, you still have this same waterproof design with the virgin nylon, whatever the heck that is, right? And you open this thing up, and this is where it gets really impressive. So you can see here, I purposely put a 40-ounce water bottle in here because it has collapsible water pockets on the side. And you can do something like put a water bottle in there, or you can put a camera lens in there, or you can just completely collapse it down and not use it at all. And I'll show you how that works here in a second. But looking inside of this, This is, I believe, a 25-liter messenger. So it gives you plenty of room inside for anything that you might need. So a full tech kit I have in here. I have an actual EDC pouch that you may have in here. And then you just see how much room you have just to throw whatever you want. A change of clothes, pouches, kits to go from bag to bag or whatever you can throw in here. So right back here is the laptop compartment. I mentioned you can put the 16-inch laptop back here. In front of it is a tablet compartment, and that has the magnet on it. So you can put an iPad or whatever. And then you have the big dump area. In the very front, you kind of have like different storage areas here. So for this small area, it does have that micro fleece on this pocket here. We'll zoom you in so you can see it a little bit better. So you get this micro fleece back on this pocket on the very far left. The middle doesn't have the magnet, but it does have the organization. And I don't think you need the magnet because they really have this design for you to maybe put business cards, pens, pencils, whatever you may want to put in there. The very front has this mesh. So if you want to put something in there like your a Tide pen or whatever, then they bring that same magnetic design over here on the side with the micro fleece. So any type of sensitive items you may want to put in there, your eyeglasses or whatever, you can do that, or a cell phone. Then you have a big old pocket in the front that you can just put whatever you may want to, maybe a notebook or whatever, with another key holder, which as mentioned, I wouldn't mind getting a swivel, but it still works for that. And that has a zipper. Now, as I mentioned, it does have these water bottle pockets. The water bottle pockets are not designed to be there at all times. You can either pull it out and have a water bottle pocket as mentioned, or you can push it in the water bottle pocket. Now you now have more room inside the bag. I like that. Behind it, there's another pocket. So if you want to put something, if you're not going to be using a water bottle pocket, you can put something in there, business cards or whatever. And it has the same exact design on the other side. So over here, you can see I put a knife back over here, but you can put a water bottle, you can put a camera lens, whatever you see fit inside of the bag. That is just kind of thinking outside the box. And then you can see it does have like this expanding mesh, which allows for, if you keep stuffing this thing and stuffing it, then you're going to have a good opportunity to expand this out pretty wide. And I like the fact that it doesn't need a zipper closure because this big flap is just covering the entire thing and helping you give a layer of protection. So another thing about the very front is even while you have the bag completely closed, there are these little vertical pockets, which I can just show you while it's closed how you access it. You can literally stuff your hand in there, grab whatever you may have inside of your vertical pockets or stash pockets. So you might have a MagSafe chargers or whatever. That way, while it's on your body, you can still access these little pockets. And I like that. And if you want, you can open this flap and you have access to a large zipper pocket. So if you want to put your phone in there, maybe some important documents, maybe if you're going to, you just checked in and you want to put the boarding pass or, you know, your baggage claim receipt and all that type of stuff, you can put that right in the front. I like that. And then right behind it is just a large dump area. So something that you may want to have quick access to, passport, a snack, something like that. So that's kind of like thought of as well. You can't necessarily access that with the flap closed, but you can access these two quick pockets. That's pretty dope. I can actually touch my finger on both. You can't access each pocket while there, but you can tell that they tried to make this go as deep as possible. Just those very small little subtle things are pretty important. And even like, as I mentioned earlier, if you use these pockets right here, you can still just see how big, like this is a pretty full-size knife. Stuff that in there. So it has access to all these little different regions of the bag itself. And this is the type of messenger that you could use in an office environment on the weekends as a dad bag or whatever. And you can take it on travel. This whole exo foam idea that they like is probably my favorite feature, mainly because I always worry about, I know I can take 2 items on a plane, but do I really want to put this item above my head with my laptop in it? Is it going to be protected? That extra layer of foam is actually pretty goated, and I really like the way that rocks. Hopefully they come out with more colors. I would love to see that. Love the black. I love the, the fact that that's a standard for travel, but I am the type of person that's a sucker for OD green. So they came out with OD green. This will make grandpa even more excited. I don't go to the office. I only go to the office about twice a year, but I always have camera equipment with me. I always have kids with me. So it's fantastic to be able to throw baby bottles and stuff in here and go to a party or whatever. But the biggest thing about the sling that I like compared to other sling bags that I have is that if I stuff this thing like a burrito, okay? So say for instance, I take this EDC pouch, which is obviously oversized. I put this in here. I can no longer close the zipper. It's just too big. But one thing about it is that in a pinch, I can still just close the flap, right? So now I can close the flap, put this on my body, and a lot of my other sling bags, there's no way I'm leaving the zipper open because I'm thinking about what if it gets wet? What if it falls out? Now, this is not 100% fail safe because I'm purposely overstuffing the bag. But the fact that I can just be in a rush, which is what happens when you're in a family situation, when you're in a rush, or when you're in a dorm situation, you're going to school or whatever, you're quickly throwing stuff in there and you may just want to get to it later. Even if you're not purposely overstuffing the bag, if you just throw your iPad in here, you forget to zip it, you don't want to zip it, you can just simply put this down. Those magnets come to the front and it helps keep the bag closed. So when you throw it on your body and you forgot to zip it, it kind of works out for you. So these bags are going to work out for you in a couple of scenarios. If you're looking for a bag that it has a different design than the bags on the market, I think these might be the bags for you. If you're looking for a bag that has designers that seem to have a lot of experience in industry, nearly 30 years in designing and manufacturing bags, and out of Bozeman, Montana, these are going to be some of the designs that you're going to be looking for. For me, overall, Fara is definitely pioneering and trying to be the tip of the spear in the everyday carry community and not just pumping out the same type of stuff. I've seen designs from a lot of different companies through here: Ebelin Stock, Brown Buffalo, Tom Talk, Nutsack, Waterfield. There's just so many to name. The designs that seem to always draw me the best are American designers and stuff that is manufactured and shipped from America. These guys are designing these in America out of Bozeman, Montana. And I like the fact that they are really pushing to try to change the design for EDC. Let me know what you guys think about these in the comments down below. There may be some things that can be improved, but they grossly are outnumbered by the things that I think are positive about these things. If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.